the CEO, the tech support team, and everything in between with iWanamaker. And as a part of our relationship, he has agreed to conduct a couple of webinars to try and introduce everyone to his platform. I think, as you hopefully have seen in the coaches rules meeting and in the materials we've got printed, iWanamaker will be the official scoring platform for all state series events. So hopefully you and your teams have gotten familiar with iWanamaker in the early part of the season, and certainly have the month of September to continue working with that. And we found through the experimenting of the platform last year that it was well received. It was certainly something the advisory committee thought was a good step to move forward with, and so we look forward to using it throughout our postseason this coming year. So with that, I'll introduce to you Mr. Doyle Heisler.
All right, thank you, Craig. Appreciate it. Welcome, coaches. We're getting to the exciting part of the season now. We're approaching the regionals and the sectionals. So I want to mention that, and I think Kurt, you're going to be okay with this, is to do webinars for the regional managers as well as the sectional managers right prior to get them off on the right start. Is that going to be okay? Kurt went on mute. So yes, I'm planning on doing that. So
yeah, that's fine, Doyle. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, I was on mute. We'll have more information. The regionals don't begin until September 29th. The schools don't complete don't have to have their information completed until I think the 22nd. So still many miles to go before them, but yes, there will be more information that comes out to the schools in advance of those meetings.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kurt. So I'm going to change it up a little bit from last Thursday, and I'm going to I'd like to start by just asking if anyone has questions. If you're stuck on something, you don't quite understand how to do something, unmute your mic and ask questions. No one? Okay. So then
I got a question. I got a question if no one else. So I just want to make sure I'm right. So pretty much when I downloaded iWanamaker, it made me go straight to the IHSA golf app for Illinois.
Okay, so let me talk to that, Cameron. Good question. So none of you guys need the iWanamaker app. Okay. In fact, not you, nor your ADs, nor your student athletes. You guys will only experience on the IHSA app. So that's the only app you need. So start with that and tell all your players that that's how it all starts. Okay, because the iWanamaker app is for charity events. So if you want to run a charity event, during the off season or something like that, that's what the iWanamaker app is for. It allows you to run amateur events, like I said, charity events. It allows you to run cup events. You can do like a Ryder Cup style event with the iWanamaker app. So that is completely. It's not what you're going to need for IHSA events. In fact, the way the system is set up is you have the iWanamaker site, right, the website, and all of the apps that are part of the iWanamaker system are just connected, right? They are every league. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so I can kind of point this out to you. Let me admit this person here. Okay, so I'm gonna share a window here, and then I'm gonna kind of show you. I'll walk you around and kind of explain what I mean by that. So this is I'm down at the league level, the IHSA league level. Okay, so a person who's not a member of a high school association of a state, they're not a coach nor an AD or a player. They experience it a lot different. And that's what events up here is for. That's for events outside of a league. All right. So if I want to go inside of a league, then I click on leagues. And you can see we have junior leagues. We have amateur leagues. This is Arizona, California. this is Christensen Golf Academy is actually a guy down in Southern Illinois that has his own league inside of iWanamaker. And then I go down all the way down to Illinois. Okay. And so when I click on Illinois, what happens is I move into a part of iWanamaker that is all about Illinois high school golf. Okay. It's everything you see on this menu over here is all the events statewide in Illinois, all the schools. And you default, by the way, to the events. So these are all the schools in the state of Illinois. Okay. And if we're missing a school, we add them. And that happens, you know, sometimes teams drop, sometimes teams add. We receive that information from coaches or from the IHSA, and then we build, we sometimes have to create a school, sometimes we have to add a girls roster or whatever. That happens throughout the season. Athletic directors get a free ticket. They get a free pass. They get to watch all events all season long, and all they have to do is get the app. Okay. So again, ideally it starts with the athletic director. The athletic director tells the coach, get the IHSA golf app. The coach tells the golfers, and then the golfers go home and they tell their parents, and now everyone is in the system and ready to experience events within Illinois, high school events within Illinois. So, and as time goes on, we'll continue to see athletic directors show up here. Right now, there's 258 ADs that have gotten the app. And I'm going to mention this iSwoosh here. That means that Aaron from Bishop McNetta, he has the app, meaning that his account that he created on iWanamaker is connected to this athletic director. And underneath this school, you'll see that Aaron is listed as the AD. Now, someone added Aaron Duff from Hillsborough. Doesn't have the swoosh. So I'm not, maybe it was an AD adding an assistant AD, but the best way to do this, and so that what happens is then we never get an entry connected back to a user, right? That's why it's always important to start with the app, because when you get the app, you're going to have four choices. Either you're going to be an athletic director, or you're going to be a golf coach, high school golf coach, a high school golfer, or a spectator. You make a choice of one of those four. Now, we do have some other things that I'm going to talk about in here in a minute that are outside of that scope, but those are the bulk of how we identify users as user type. So that's that. Then you go down to coaches, and so the athletic directors, it might be a way for Kurt or even Stacy one day to message athletic directors right from in the system. And so this system, it's really a tool for you to use to communicate with other coaches. So let's say that you wanted to reach out to all of the coaches in a particular conference. Then you would just pick that conference, and then you would just select all the coaches. And so this is if this is accurate, then we have the 12 coaches here, and then you can go to bulk actions and you can send an email message to those 12 people within that conference. You can do it by class. So if I wanted to do all conferences and I wanted to message all of the the class 2A coaches, then I would just drop this down and I would filter on the class 2A coaches. Okay. And then that message that you send will be delivered to them. It's going to come from a do not reply. All right. So it's always a good idea to put your email address at the bottom. So let's say you're promoting your event in a certain area. Then what you might want to do is come in and, be able to filter on the right coaches, send them the message, and then say, and if you're interested in playing my event, email me at this address. Okay. So communication tool is what this is. So the number of golfers, this is, if you want to come here and look at this, this is a place so you can see that there's 4,825 boys golfers in the system as of right now, right? And then you can flip it over to girls, and there's 2928. What we do each year in July of every year is we transition from one season to the next. And so all of the golfers that are on rosters each year will be copied forward to the next year. Okay, but we drop seniors. So all of the players that are non-senior will be copied forward, and then the coaches go in and they might have a golfer that was on one season and then they're not playing the next season. You just take that golfer off. That's sort of the preseason work. That's the work that's going on right now. Once the golfers are in the system, then you import them into events throughout the season. We do it this way so that we can create a ranking for all of the golfers and all of the teams throughout the state. Okay, by class and also by grade. You can, and I'll show you in a minute on the rankings. So that's why it is built the way it's built, with the classifications or the alignment that is put forth by the IHSA. So golfers, we go on to rosters. The next one that you see here is rosters. So this is, again, a statewide view of the rosters. If you want to drill into your school, then you would go to schools, click on your school, and now you're looking at just your school AD, your school coaches, your school roster, and your events. All that stuff it just filters everything else out except for the things that are related to your school. So then you can expand on Addison Trail and see who are the players for Addison Trail. And you can see who has the apps and who doesn't have the app. And so as a coach, you're going to want to make sure that they all have the app, because for the region, section, and state, they'll be scoring, as Kurt said, they'll be scoring live on the app. And they'll be marking, they'll be marking for another player in their parent. Okay, so that is the rosters piece. The rankings piece, this gets updated every time an event is created, set up all the way through, right, scored, and then closed out. Okay, and I'm going to walk through that process, right? And you have all kinds of filters here. You can say, well, who's the best, 2A school right now in whatever conference? And you can also say, I will only care about 18-hole rounds, whatever that might be. So you also have all these different categories. You can say, who's got the most birdies across the state right now? Who's got the most bogeys? If the golfers are putting in fairways, then you got fairways hit. You got greens and regulation putts. You'll always have par 3 average, par 4 average, par 5 average. We also have pace of play. If the golfers are scoring consistently after every hole, we stamp that, and now you've got the time it took to play that hole. Okay, so these you can go in and play with here. If you want to learn more about it, just click right here, and it explains everything about the rankings. Okay, so it says click right here to learn more about the rankings. And then after you make a change, so let's just do something here. Let's show the players, and let's go ahead and have some fun with it. Let's show the #1 junior across the entire state for girls, 2A, and we just click change, and now it quickly goes out. And now we can see that we've got a girl from Quincy here that has the best IWR. You can read about how the IWR is calculated in the ranking document, but I can tell you real quick what it is. If you guys are familiar with golf, it is the differential. It's the same formula used by the USGA to calculate the skill level of the golfer. Okay, so that's the default, right? If I wanted to go and say, who's got the most birdies of girls in 3A, I can just click on that, and now I've got the number of birdies out there for the juniors, right? Junior only. So I can say all grades, and then I can go back and hit change, and now I don't know why it's only so for maybe they're the only ones getting birdies. Let's just go ahead and see if we can get some pars here.
Doyle, this is interesting, but there is a question, and maybe that'd be good to sort of take a step back and see if we can't, because some of these folks maybe are saying, okay, how do I get my players to make an account or join the team in the app? So maybe if we could just take a step back and look at Cameron's question. Okay.
What I got to get to the question here. Where is? Let me see. Chat with everyone. I'm showing the people.
I think for me, there's the icon next to the people. The icon next to the people is where I found the question.
Chat with everyone. Okay, there we go. How do players make an account or join a team? What they'll do is they'll get the app. they're asked to put their email in, okay, and then they verify that email. And the next step, they'll choose, I'm a golfer, I'm a high school golfer. And then after that, they go into the next one, which is just information about their year they graduate. The things that are shown on a leaderboard. So if we go to a leaderboard, you can see the information that is displayed on a leaderboard. I'm not sure if they scored this one or not, but if you have looked at a leaderboard or look at, so this one, they didn't set the pairings up. Okay, so how do we get players information in? They get the app, they answer all the questions, they choose the school they play for, and then they're finished. Okay, so they also pick whether on the boys team or on the girls team. Once they're on that team, they're ready to go. So the easiest way to have a golfer get on a roster is just to tell them to get the app. Once they do, then if, let's just say that I'm a coach at Addison Trail, I can go in and look at my roster, and I can see that these are the golfers, the ones that have gotten the app are the ones with the iSwoosh. Okay, so to answer the question, they get the app and they answer a few questions, and now they pick the school they play for, the team they play on, and then they'll be added to that roster. And the other information that will go with that is that we ask them for the year they graduate, which will fill this field in automatically, and then the gender. So then the seed is what the coach will be able to enter, okay, and change, because the seed is used many times in events to put like players with like players. So you might want to say, let's put all the ones, let's pair all the ones with the ones, the twos with the twos, the threes with the threes, and so on. Okay, so that is the process that a golfer goes through, much like a coach. All we do is that we just ask a few more questions of the player, because we're not going to capture the year a coach graduates, right? So there's the steps that you walk through as a golfer is a little bit different than it is for a coach, a little bit different for an AD, and a lot different for a spectator. So let me go back now. So a little bit about navigation. For you, the coaches, when you click on the iWanamaker logo, it's going to take you to a page that's going to show, like if I was a coach at Addison Trail and I click on the iWanamaker logo, I'm going to see Addison Trail right in the middle of the screen. I click on that, and that takes me right here. And it's going to actually take me here, right, to show me all the events. And I can go to past events, today's events, and upcoming events. Okay, so this is what we call your landing page, if you will, because you just click on this and you're right there. If you ever get lost, you just click here, back to your school. Now, if you want to go back up to the statewide view, then you're going to do that here you're going to click on the Illinois High School Association. Okay, now you're at the Illinois High School Association, and now you're looking at everything statewide. So I showed you the rankings. Administrators, that is for people who when we start to get down the road a little further here, we identify people who we feel like are really going to be able to help other coaches, because this is a shared model, right? Everyone is sharing in the responsibility to make it work. And you can call on your colleagues to help you set up pairings. You can call on us to help you set up pairings. So you got the ability, once you get into an event, like if I wanted to message the people in this event, if I'm a coach in this event, I just edit the event, I go to people, and then I can quickly send a message to these two people in this event, right? These coaches right here. And then so you can get some communication going with the tool, like when you want to have the players pulled into the event, when you're going to set the pairings, that sort of thing. So it's a communication tool for you coaches, okay? And so let me back up. I'm going to save and exit here. I'm going to exit. I'm in edit event mode right now. So I'm going to exit edit event mode to go back out, right? And the status of this event is that the players were imported into the event, but there were no pairings set, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and and I'm going to use this event, right? And show you how easy it would have been to get the pairing set. the golfers could not score this live because there was no round actually created. And so let's go in and just go through some steps on what this coach needed to do to get this event live and ready to score. Every event is the same way. So I'm going to click on Edit Event. And now I've got 7 steps to finish. Just have to be able to go through these steps. And as long as you complete every one of them, you're going to be able to be successful in getting an event set up and ready for the golfers to score. On each step, when you get in here, there are videos on each step if you get stuck. If you read up here, it says, click here to watch the video tutorial on this. Click here on the scoring a test feature, right? So if you're wondering about this, you can click here to read about the scoring a test. And here's a video on how to create a logo for your event. So if you don't like this logo, you want to put a conference logo in there, you want to change the logo, watch the video, and it shows you how to do that. Unless if you're pretty good with graphics, then you probably don't need any help at all. You just go create a PNG and remove this one and add the new one. So obviously, you're going to pick your gender of your event. You're going to pick whether it's tournament or practice. Many coaches use this for qualifiers. They set it as a practice. They do it as a qualifier. Many coaches are doing a varsity event alongside of a junior varsity event. So that way they give the junior varsities the opportunity to experience this. And then you get into the secure scoring piece. By the way, if you hover above any one of these little question marks, it explains what this is. So this is one of the biggest features that why 11 states are using us right now. So right now, today, there was probably 230, 240 events. There was events in Florida, Arizona, Colorado, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, all over, right? Wyoming, New Mexico. So the secure scoring piece allows you, the coach, to set up and go digital, right? And then when you go digital, how can you ensure that it is secure? Okay, so you enable secure scoring, and then you make a decision whether you want to have the golfers only, right? Only golfers can score. Now, keep in mind that you'll always, as a manager, be able to edit scores. Okay, golfer only means that for out there on the course, when something's going on, we have the golfers will be doing the scoring. Okay, so now we've got who will be allowed to enter scores, golfers only. And so once we could choose that, or we can choose managers, coaches, golfers, or scorers. So when we select that, that means just what it says. Anyone listed, and I'm going to jump over here real quick. Anyone listed under the managers, so either one of these two could score if I turn that on. Any one of the coaches, any one of the golfers, and if you add officials to the event, if you ad hoc add an official, they can score as well. Okay, so if you turn that on, another one shows up, and it's called scorers. And we built that because way back when when we had states, because we've been doing this now for 10 years. So 8 years ago, golfers were not scoring like they do today. So they would have walking scorers. So what many people would do is they would turn this on, and then parents, volunteers could request to be a scorer. A message is sent to all of the managers, and the managers can either admit or deny that person to be a scorer. Okay, so that's what, if you select this, that's what will happen. So I'm showing you this because this is the way the regionals, sectionals, and state will be run. So it's going to be golfers only. And then will we be exchanging scorecards? Well, per rule 3.3b in the USGA rulebook, that is competitive stroke play is done by exchanging a scorecard, much like you guys know, right? But in the past, you may only been used to doing paper exchange of scorecards. So now you can digitally exchange scorecards. So the system, when you set the pairings, it assigns a marker to another golfer in every group. Okay, so when the golfer gets the app, they sign in, they go find the event. Very simple. I've never had a golfer get stuck on using the app. They're pretty sharp with things like that, the apps. They go to the event, they touch on score around, because we know who they're scoring for and we know who they are. We put them right into a score screen where they tell the person they're marking for, and they introduce themselves. Hi, John, I'm marking for you today. Please report your scores to me, right? And they do that after each hole. And then if you want to have the next feature turned on, that is the hole-by-hole attest and locking. This is what coaches, this actually is here because of requests from coaches from Illinois. Because you guys had the exchange of scorecards last year. And then many of the coaches said, well, so what's to stop a marker from changing a score? Let's say they're on hole 15 and they've scored 14 holes. They're playing hole 15. What's to stop that marker from going back and changing one of the scores on hole 6? And I said, nothing. If they were to do that, hopefully they would do it in pure honesty that the marker or that the golfer told them to, but we couldn't prevent it. They said, well, we'd like to prevent that. Okay. I said, okay. So if a golfer tells a marker their score, then that golfer will see that score on their phone. Your marker, John, entered a 4 for you in hole number 2. Do you attest that score? And if the golfer says, yes, I do, it's entered and locked. And the only people that can change it is a manager of the event. So if the golfer says, no, I don't agree, then the message says, well, talk to your marker. Tell your marker to get it in right? Let that happen. Let that communication happen. And if they come to a conclusion on what that score should be, then they touch the button and it says, I need help. I got to have an official ruling. So they touch, I need an official ruling. A text message is sent to all of the managers who have verified their phone number. When you log in on the app, you'll have a chance to verify your phone number. So when you do that, then for the events that you're a part of, you'll receive a text message when a golfer asks for a ruling. Again, your coaches asked for this. You guys, I'm not sure if one of you guys did, but coaches in Illinois asked for this. They didn't want it to be done in an email, which is what it was last year. They wanted it quick so they could get out there and they could help that parent with whatever question they might have. So that's the whole secure scoring piece. You can read all about it by, like I said, click right here, or you can click on help. Probably a good time to talk about help. So anytime from any screen in iWanamaker, you can click on help. You can learn how to email us. You can call us. We talk to you. I talk to coaches all day long from all states throughout the entire United States. And I love doing that, right? So please, if you feel like, if you're more comfortable with calling, call me. If you feel more comfortable emailing, email us. Before you do that, you might want to check out some of these videos, because if you watch these first 4 or 5 videos, you'll be a pro, because everything is explained about, here's the overview of the platform. Here's how you manage rosters. And in here, it talks about the question earlier. How does a golfer get registered? It's right here in the video. How to set up a match in less than 5 minutes. It goes through all the steps that we're going to go through as I talk here. And you can do it all in, Coach Mike did it in 5 minutes, so you guys should be able to do it in 5 minutes too. So the scorecard exchange with hole-by-hole attest and locking. That is a video that many coaches will watch with their players, so that the players and the coach understand how it works. Okay? And then you got the ranking piece right here. So that is always accessible. It opens up in a new tab when you click on help. Okay, so we've talked. So the event name is pretty simple. You can change this to whatever you want it to be at any moment, right? I just got an email from a coach earlier. Hey, we got rained out down in Arizona. I said, well, put in parentheses behind you got rained out, right? Don't need to delete the event. Let's let the people know. Let's let the public know what happened. So in parentheses behind the event, cancel due to rain. Okay, so if something happens, crazy one the other day in Arizona, they had a bee attack. Wow. Canceled due to bees, right? So that's what you can do. You can always change the event date and time. Okay, that's right here. Just click on it, do your spinners, make the change. After you're done with this step, you can either choose next, or you can click on step number 2, which is add a course, right? So I'm not sure where this was going to be played, but I'm just going to go ahead and pick a course, right? I'm going to delete the course later. Every bit of an event, every step in the event can be edited and can be changed, right? At any moment, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm going to add a scorecard that the players will be using as a reference as they play. And because we show that with respect to par, the scores, right? And we sort and we show who's in first place, team-wise and individual-wise. So you always want to make sure that the scorecard is accurate. So when you come in here and let's say you're playing the whites, you verify the yardages. And by the way, this is all pulled from the USGA. So if you're interested, it's the NCRDB USGA database. We're partners with the USGA. And so you can come down at any, this is a publicly accessible database. You go to Illinois, you click submit, and every single golf course that is registered with the Illinois Golf Association is also registered with the USGA. And here's all the courses, and you can go in and you can look at the rating and slope of every single tee box. That's how we do our rankings. It's all based on what the USGA has, because we're partners with them. We sync with them. Okay, so all this information comes from the USGA. Once we do that, then this course is synced. I'm going to save and close. I'm done with step 2. Now, if you want to add a favorite golf course, it's very simple to do. I'm going to right-click and duplicate my tab and show you how simple it is to add your favorite. So if mine is that Alpine golf course that I just looked at, I can go look here and I can view more. And I can find the course that might be my favorite, right? And so once I do that and I get to the course, then I can add that as a favorite course, okay? So I just go through all these courses here and I find the course that might be mine. I'm not going to bore you guys with, but I'm going to just say let's say this is a favorite. I don't want to make this a favorite, okay? So I go up here and I add the favorites. Okay, now it's a favorite. Now I go back over here to my courses and I refresh my page and I click on courses again. And now I can grab that course right here and I can add it to my event real quick. So that's one of the first things you might want to do is go ahead and find your golf course in the system, make it a favorite, because it'll save you time on this step. You don't have to click on find, Illinois, find the club, find the course. So that's the courses step. The next step is the people step, and that I showed you a little bit before. It's the managers, the coaches, the golfers, the officials, and the spectators. So the reason we have managers and coaches and how this works is that every time a team is added to an event, the coaches for that team are brought into the event as well. Automatic. You don't have to do that, right? All you have to do is say the 2 teams in this event are this team here and this team here. And the coaches for those teams are automatically brought into the event. The reason we have them both is because now this was created by Josh. Josh may say, you know what? I'm going to be the only manager of this event. So Josh can take Matt out of this as a manager, and now Josh will be doing all the managing of the event. Only Josh can see the edit event button. But if he still wants to email Matt, he has the coaches piece, right? You can imagine a big tournament where you might have 30 coaches, you might want to limit the managers, but you still want to communicate with the other coaches. So that's why they are both there. The golfers are here, so you can take a quick look. This event was 100% ready to be scored with Scorecard Exchange. Every one of the golfers have the app ready to go, and I can tell by this eye swoosh here. Even this, let's see if the seeds are in there. Looks like we've got, and I can also sort on seed here too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is all only one team, right? So these are all from one team. They had 9 players from one team ready to go. So the other team didn't get their players in. So, and you can see right here. So how do I put players? So I go to the team step, and now I can add more teams by clicking right here and then bringing more teams in. But let's just I'm going to show you how to add players to this team here. So they only had 1, and so we can import this golfer into the event. Okay, so now we've got that 1 golfer in the event. After we're done with this step, right, now we can go over to the round step. And again, we're just walking across the top here, just 1 through 7. Add a round, because every event has to have a round, and every round has to have pairings, right? So let's say we're going to do a standard start. We're going to leave it at 10-minute interval. We're going to start on hole number 1, and we're going to play 9 holes. We're playing from the white tees. I'm going to add a pairing. I'm going to need a couple pairings here. And I know most of these players are from the same school, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you how we would do this. So I'm going to put these two golfers together. Let's put actually 3 in the first pairing. Let's put 3 in the second pairing and 3 in the last pairing. Now, obviously, we wouldn't want, you know, players from the same team keeping their score, but we don't have any other choice here, right? So I would just click add. Now I can take Natalie out. I can swap. I can swap Piper and Faye real easily. I just take Piper out of this one, and take Faye out of this one, and put Piper in this one, and Faye in the other one. Right? Very simple to swap players in and out of pairings. Okay. So now that I've got that done, you can see automatic intervals. So 4:30, 4:40, and 4:50 are the start times. So I've got the pairings done now. I'm going to click next. I'm going to look at the leaderboard step. And once I go to here, I'm probably going to leave the individual gross and the team gross on. So no changes needed here. Here are the tiebreakers. We designed this tiebreaker for team based on what the IHSA asked for. So it looks to the next player. It looks to the 5th score and then the 6th score and determines who won if the teams end up in a tie. The individual tiebreaker is the standard USGA, the last 9 holes, the last 6 holes, 3, and then 1. Okay, automatically breaks ties for you. So not much else to do here. We're going to go to contest. If you want to add a contest, that's more for fun events. I go next, and then I can add information here about the event. You want to talk about different, you can put links in here, a link to a PDF that you may have created, just as information for the other coaches or for parents or for anyone experiencing this event. You can add rules here, save save your event info and rules, and then you can start emailing people, pairings, and that sort of thing. And then the last thing you might, if you want to, print out a pairing sheet, scorecards, card signs isn't really relevant to you guys, but I can print any one of these items, right, with just a couple of clicks, downloads the PDF, you send it to the printer, now you got the old paper that you can go grab off the printer and use at your event. And the last step is test. It tells you go ahead and grab your app because this event is ready to go. This event is ready to score. So if you went into the IHSA golf app and you did a search on this school, at this school, you'll find this event, and if you're a golfer, right? And then you're going to be able to score it. You as a coach, you can actually go in and look at any event throughout the state, any event that's going on. So you just get the app, find the event, and you can look at, you can watch, follow, whatever you want to do. You have full access to all the events across the state. By default, because we are really team focused, right? The app is, we show the team gross. I can change it by simply going to individual gross and then change. Now I can see all the individual players in this event, okay? So you can switch between. On the app, you just swipe. You swipe left, swipe right. You got the team leaderboard, you got the individual leaderboard, okay? Very simple to use and intuitive. So now I'm sitting at the event homepage. So I'm not going to go into the app, lack of time here. I'm not going to go into the app and show how to score that. If you want to see how that works, you can click on help and watch that video, that hole by hole test and locking. But if you as a coach need to edit some scores, you can do that by clicking on edit results. Pick your pairing and you can put scores in. Okay. So we had these guys going up the front, so I can just put some scores in here. I'm not going to put too many in. The lack of time here. So let's just go ahead and put some scores in, and then we can
Tom, quit it.
okay. So we can put the scores in here, and then we'll save that. And then I can go back out and I can view this leaderboard right now. So I got my scores here, and you can see they played through 6, 6, and 7, right? And then the rest of the players, as they score, you'll start to see. When the golfers are finished, when they finish 9, it's going to flip it and it's going to show their total score and that they're finished, okay? Because I said they're playing 9 holes, right? And so let's go ahead and just show you one of those, right? Let's just finish one of these scores out here because we only have 2 more to go here. So we got those done. If I click that and then I go back to view the leaderboard, then you can see that we've got a finished player here. It's always going to sort based on the versus par, right? So that's why these two players are ahead of Jolie. Okay. So that is the setup of the event, right? And the how you can edit scores after the fact. There are some coaches that, because they were a little bit slow to doing this, they're going back because they want to have their kids in the rankings and creating past events because they have the scores and they're putting them in. And the last thing you have to do to have scores submitted to the rankings is to close the round. So I've showed you everything, how to set it up. I've explained how the golfers are going to score, how you as coaches can use the app. The last thing you do, and you can do this on the app too, by the way, by clicking on edit event and close the round. You're going to click on close round and then click on this. And that submits all finished scores to the ranking system. Okay. And now you're done. And then you just repeat that process throughout the season. Okay. So I'm going to pause. You guys must have some questions about this. Nothing yet? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to clean this event up. Events are very flexible. All I have to do is go in and I can clean this up. I can go in here and I can get rid of this player, right? Or I can get rid of the entire pairing. Or I can get rid of the entire round, right? Because this coach, there was no round here in the first place. So I just kind of jumped on I hijacked his event. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to make it just like it was before I came in. No round. There was no player here. Take this player out, right? He had those players in. The team was there. And then I'm going to go back. I didn't make any changes here. I'm going to go back and take the course out. He's going to like, who put that course in there? I'm going to remove that course. And now this event is basically back to just the way it was before I entered it. So if you create an event, oh my gosh, I messed up. Just know you can change anything in an event. Even if you pick the wrong home team. By the way, this logo is picked by the home team that you choose. Okay. You can change that up. Right. So now I'm going to save and exit. And now this event is back to exactly the way it was before I started. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to create an event. Okay. So how did that event get there in the first place? Right. So if I go to my school and if I have the privilege to create an event, I'm going to have an edit, a create event button here. I am going to have to actually sign in as someone else because I don't have that privilege with this login. This is my personal login. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump in with a different login, which will allow me to create an event. So now this is my another account that I use when I do support for coaches throughout the season. So and now if I go to, and I'll just go to league because that particular one has Florida as its home, right? As its home, its landing page. So I'm going to go to Illinois. I'm going to do it just what I did before. I'm going to go to schools. I'm going to go to Addison Trail. So I do that first one because I don't forget to clean this up at the end. And now you as a coach have this button right here. Okay. So again, log in, click the iWanamaker logo, click on your school, click on create event. It's 3 clicks to create an event to get to this point right here. Pick your date, standard, boys or girls, practice or tournament, varsity or this, pick your time, click next, pick your home team, pick the away team. I have no idea where this school might be on the other side of the state, but you get the idea, right? I click next, I got an event name, and now that event is created. 3 easy steps. And then you go into the edit event mode that I showed you before this, right? So now you know how to create the event and you know how to fully manage the event. You know how to score the event. You know how to close the event out. And then that process just repeats throughout the season. Now, any questions? No? Darn it, I got to do something here to get some good questions coming. So anyway, so if you don't, I'm going to keep talking about other things, right? So to date, more than 30,000 events have been run in the system across 25 different states. Okay, so this is tried and tested. It's been around for a long time. You can go back. So think about that as a coach. This is going to be This is history, right? This will never go away. Arizona, if I jump to Arizona here, you'll see, and even Colorado, if I go to rankings in this state, they've got years of rankings, years, right? They go all the way back to 14, 15. This stuff never goes away. I can find an event that has been around, that was played back in 2016. I got someone with their hand up. Go ahead, John. Open the queue. I got to open the queue, maybe. So, John, unmute your mic if you want to ask. Okay. So it says, it said, John, you raised your hand, but okay. Well, anyway, just if any of you guys want to ask a question, just take your mic off of mute and just jump in. Okay. So getting back to this, so you have the ability, Illinois, to go back back to 2017-18 rankings, and this is exactly how the teams were ranked, how many rounds they played, and if I click on this, it's going to take me to it's going to open up another window and show me where those came from. Okay, these are all the events that they played in that year. This is their IWR. And they actually count the best 7 out of however many. So they get their IWR is based on their best 7 rounds. So that's stuff that we can do when we work with the association. We can do things like that. So just know that all the events that are run will always be there. For example, I can go back to Illinois and I can go back and look at a sectional tournament from last year, right? From this year, and so I can do a search up here for the IHSA. I can't remember how Kurt did that. I think he did the IHSA maybe boys sectional. Let's just try this, see what happens. There we go. So here is, that is this year. Well, I think he put golf. So he put IHSA boys golf. But there might, I used a different logo this year. Oh, here we go. So here are some the section 1 in Sherrard last year. So I can just click on that and I can go back and look at that event. I can look at the scores. I can look at both team and individual scores and see how it all ended up, how it all turned out. Okay.
Doyle, we do have another question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. Julie, do you want to?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you set up the event, it gives you the option of practice or tournament. If you're playing just a match against another school, would you consider that then a tournament?
Yes. Yeah, a match, a tournament, they all fall under the category of a tournament.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the practice one, and by the way, practice events never get into the rankings. Okay, so you can run as many practice events as you want. And you can run them in different ways. You can create a practice, you can create multiple practice events, or you can create one practice event with multiple rounds. I know some coaches who do 6, 7 qualifying rounds. So they create one practice event and then they create like 4, 5, or 6 rounds, which all aggregate across, right? And now you can use that to determine, who you want, how you're going to seed your golfers for the season, right? So there's lots of different ways to do practice events. By the way, so that's also how the system works. An event can have endless number of rounds. Kurt, state tournaments are going to have two round state tournaments. I think, I'm pretty sure, right? Kurt, you have two rounds in your state.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Section has 1. Region has 1. Minnesota, they have 2 rounds in their section tournaments, right? You can choose between 9 or 18. So, but you can do whatever you want. PGA has usually 4 rounds, right, in a tournament. So you can do that too. You can create 4 rounds, and you can also aggregate. The scores will aggregate across those rounds automatically for individuals and for teams. Okay. So this is how you would look this up. Now, the other thing that you can do after the event is closed, you can go to an event and you can look at the rankings for that event. So if you want more detail about this event and you want to say what were the scoring averages in this event, well, the scoring average is going to be, well, I guess, okay, I still have it on 9 holes, so it's the average between the 9 holes, right? So I can change this to 18 and the scoring average is the score, right? So then I can also flip it to player and I can look at what the scores were. So that's the scores. And then the average is there because for a state tournament, you can look at the average across both days. I can look at the number of pars that were made in this event. Okay, and it sorts it highest to lowest. I can keep going down. I can look at the number of birdies in this event. Okay, and then I can go all the way down and look at, when we get down to like double bogeys, it's going to flip it and it's going to put the ones that had the least at the top. Okay, so all these are, and who was the best at who had the best par 3 average? Well, right here. He hit, obviously he made a 3 on every one of them. Okay, so all this is available to you at the event level. It's also available to you at the state level. It's also available to you at your school level. Rankings are, okay? So any more questions?
Thank you, Doyle. That was, yeah, that's, I think, a very good overview of the platform. And I guess I would just encourage coaches, if they haven't been experimenting with it, with the app, now's as good a time as any. I think the earlier you can get your players accustomed to the app, the more ready, the more prepared, I should say, they'll be when we get into the state series. And I would just offer that in our time working with Doyle, you know, we have found that he and his team are very willing and receptive to any and all questions. He showed you where that help area is. I know I go there often to remind myself, oh yeah, that's how we get this done or that done when it comes to working with the app. But I know he's been very responsive when coaches have reached out to him. So when you're putting together an event, or if you run into something that throws you for a loop, you know, like he said, there's probably a tutorial that explains it, but sometimes you don't have that opportunity to go back to those. If you need his help, he'll be a tremendous resource. And we thank him for putting on tonight's webinar. We're going to be working tomorrow to get a link to the first webinar up on our website, and we'll get word out to the coaches when that's posted and where they can find it. And certainly we again thank not only Doyle for his time, but everybody else for their time this evening. So if there aren't any more questions, and I'm not seeing any, maybe this is a good time just to, a couple raised hands here, Doyle. John and Mark. So, either one, go ahead and unmute and ask away.
Right. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Doyle. Listen, I feel like I've just taken a drink from a fire hose. And I am actually, I'm going to go ahead and look at some of the videos, the self-help videos for creating a conference tournament and so on. But it looks like the screen that you're showing there, the iWanamaker, is that, did I mishear you say that, you know, you don't need that app and you just go to the IHSA app? Or is all the nuts and bolts on the iWanamaker?
So good question. Thanks, John. So the IHSA Golf app is an app that you get in the App Store. You can also get the iWanamaker app in the App Store. That you don't need. So every app that we have built is powered by iWanamaker. So coaches will spend their time on iWanamaker.com in a browser. So you have a full format screen instead of a little tiny screen on that. So that's why I'm showing the nuts and bolts as you referred to it. That's what this is. This is where you do the management of your rosters of your events. And then when this is all done and ready to go, you show up at the event. Almost everyone at that event, the spectators, the parents, the golfers, they're going to be, and you are going to be experiencing it on the app, on the IHSA Golf app. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We have another hand up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. If we're running a regional or sectional, does this app or this system make moot that where we designate the coaches, typically of individuals, to sit and do scoring tables with the players, merely as a byproduct of the COVID and having to have our distance last year? Are we no longer or are we changing how we sit to go over scorecards, or what are we doing?
Good question.
Kurt, Kurt, go off of mute, because that's a good question for Kurt.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted there. Sorry. Yeah, that is a really good question. And what we want managers to do is we don't want to not continue that, what I'll describe as post-round gathering together of a group, of a playing group with an adult helping to go through that end of the round final verification of scores.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen, though, what'll be a little different this year, and I think Doyle's got a video, a tutorial on that, is that the players will be able to see what their scores were. They should have already attested to them, because that feature's in there hole by hole. But then it's at the end of the round where they'll be able to, on their device, digitally sign their scorecard, just like they would have in the old days when they would have been sitting at a table looking at it and gotten the paper copy and signed off on it. So we don't want to lose that point of contact, and we think that's an important one to maintain. And I think I explained how that works correctly, Doyle, using the right vernacular, but certainly is there a piece there that I left out as it relates to the app and its use?
Yep, no, you nailed it, Kurt. So yeah,
Okay,
basically
good.
The golfers will be scoring hole by hole. They'll attest their scores. They'll be following Rule 33B, right, where you have a marker all the way through, and at the end they'll report to a scoring table where they will sign their scorecard. It's just that, and it's as simple as there's a button that just says touch here to attest. They touch there, and after they do, and at first it says, though, look over your scores, and I'm sure the scoring table will tell them, are your scores all right? If they're not, then they can make a change using edit results if they need to, right? And then if everything is good, they touch, and what it does then is it stamps the scorecard, as you would expect, with the person who scored the round, with the attest, who attested it, and the date and time of the attest. And now that scorecard is public information. Anyone can go view that scorecard, signed scorecard. Okay, another hand up, John.
Yep, John.
Yeah, so you said that to set up a meet, you said all the nuts and bolts are on the browser itself, on the iWanamaker website, and then when you get to the meet, you just do everything through the IHSA app. What if you want to make a change and all you have is your phone? Can you make changes on the app itself, or do you have to go back to the website?
That's a great question. A lot of coaches are very good, and they just open up their phone, they open up a browser, they log into iWanamaker.com, and they're making these changes because they know the interface. The interface doesn't change, just on a smaller form factor, right?
Okay, so you just have to.
You can make all those changes on the app.
Okay.
I mean, on the phone.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
And oh, by the way, we're working on a feature right now. One of the things that is this right here, the edit results. People go to this a lot because kids just make a mistake. So we are coming out with a new feature, and I am testing it tonight, and I started testing it today. My development team just finished it up, giving you the ability as a manager. Only managers can do this. Can go in and change scores on any hole at any time. They can also change the seed, and they can change the eligibility. Because we didn't get this question tonight, but we get it a lot. What happens if Levi withdraws after the fourth hole? Who's gonna shuffle the markings? Because automatically it's going to assign markers to each of these three people, these three golfers. So if Levi drops out, Jordan is going to have to mark for Austin and Austin for Jordan, right? That's just what's going to happen. The system does it automatically. So as soon as you change the eligibility to WD and save it, the system automatically updates Jordan's phone and Austin's phone so that they can mark for each other. So that feature that has to be done right here in a browser. But we're going to make that feature available on the app. So we're starting to add things that we know you do a lot on the app to make a better experience for you, the coach. So the three things you can do is change scores, change seeds, and change the eligibility of the player.
High school match. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is go to iWanamaker.com,
Okay.
sign in. I got my password, sign in. When I get
Somebody's already into the tutorials, Doyle.
Okay. All right. Good.
That's okay. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
So,
good stuff.
any questions? Any more questions? And guys, if you think of one after, you call me tomorrow.
Yeah. And
I
certainly, if
talk
you
to
have other
coaches all day.
questions,
I love talking to coaches.
yeah,
Helping
and certainly you can always reach out to Stacy and I if you ever have any questions either. So, again, thanks everybody for your time, and thank you, Doyle. We're looking forward to
Just in
an
time.
exciting end of the season. What's that? One more? Yeah.
Oh, Jim showed up.
Jim's here.
Oh, all right.
Just in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy
All
my
right.
life.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Have a good
All right,
evening.
appreciate it. I'm going to stop the
Bye-bye.
recording now.
Thanks. Good evening.
Okay. Thank you, Doyle.
All right. Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay.
Good night.
Night.